feel the same way every one of you felt when you heard. It's unbelievable.
There's still an administration process, but if this is proven to be true, what will be the process with the title and the belt and that sort of thing?
I'm not going to say anything until this whole thing plays out and see how this thing, where we end up. But, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Until the process is done, Dana, could this have come at a worse time, sort of the eyes of the whole world on sport?
Yeah, I mean, these never come at a good time. They're always bad, especially with somebody like Jon Jones who, you know, wherever you sit in MMA, in my opinion, he's the best to ever do it. He's the best ever. And, you know, that makes it even more unfortunate.
Have you talked to Cormier?
I did.
What did you say?
Holy shit, this is crazy. And he's in Hawaii right now with his family on vacation, and he couldn't believe it either. He felt the same way that I did. Blown away. Huh?
Have you spoken to Jon?
I have not spoken to Jon, no.
Man, how much do you think this taints his legacy?
How much what?
How much do you think this taints his legacy?
I mean, if this ends up and he gets, you know, and it ends up, you know, getting 2 or 3, that might be the end of his career. So to talk about his legacy, I mean, it's probably the end of his career.
You don't see him coming back?
He might. Well, let me tell you what, it's tough. I mean, how old is Jon now? 30?
30.
Yeah, 33, 34, trying to make a comeback again. And you look at what could have been and what he could have done, and listen, he's the best ever in my opinion. You know, he had the potential to move to heavyweight and fight heavyweights. If you look at Cormier's never been beat at heavyweight. Jon beat him twice. I'm not saying that means Jon could have reigned in the heavyweight division, but he has the size, the power, everything. He has everything to be a heavyweight champion. So who knows what could have been. Just one of those sad stories, you know.
Did you ever talk to Jon after 214?
No. Jon and I still haven't talked since 200. Hi, and a couple of words here and there, but we haven't talked. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Cormier would be the champion. I mean, the only guy he's ever lost to in his whole career is Jon Jones. So he was the champ. You know, he's the champion if Jones isn't.
How long would you wait for results?
I don't know. I mean, how long do you think this thing takes to play out?
You know, again, it varies. I've seen them play out in as little as, you know, under a month. I've seen them take, you know, 6 months up to a year. It just depends on the circumstances. Way too early in the game right now. I mean, we're a couple hours into getting notified to know really what all the circumstances are here. So way too early to predict that.
How close were you guys to booking Jones versus him?
We were talking about Jones fighting at heavyweight.
Against Stipe?
Probably.
And in Detroit?
Probably.
Dana, have you talked about
Yeah, it's just, you know, Jon and I have been mad at each other since UFC 200, but, you know, the reality is we've been there for this kid every step of the way. You know, how many times did I fly to Albuquerque every time he, you know, got in trouble? And, you know, the list goes on and on of you know, what we've done for this guy. And, yeah, it's sad. You know, I like his family. Dad's a nice guy. His mom is a sweetheart. You know, his brothers are good guys. And you know, just you look at the potential that this kid had and what he could have been. And you know what I mean? I mean, look at Conor right now. Look at Conor McGregor. Imagine what Jon Jones could be right now. You know, how big he could be. How many sponsors would he have? Who would he be signed with that, you know, have never signed a mixed martial artist before? And the list goes on and on of what could have been with Jon Jones. It'll be a great 30 for 30 someday. And how many times have Floyd and Conor been tested since?
So I was telling Dana this week that since July 1st, both Floyd and Conor have been tested. They've had 13 samples collected. And without a doubt, the two most tested athletes on the planet Earth in the last month and a half. And so, I mean, I think that makes that fight even more special coming up.
That's one of the things I respect about Floyd, too, is that Conor was already in this program, you know, with the UFC. Floyd didn't even flinch when I said, oh, we want him to get USADA tested. Jumped right into the program and been tested 13 times, and they're both clean. Knock them out. You know, normally when we go into these fights, everybody's in the UFC. You know, it's our guy versus our guy. I'm not going to say there haven't been special situations where I've, you know, pulled against a Tito or something like that. But it's usually our guy versus our guy, and whoever wins wins. This is obviously a huge, a lot at stake here on both sides. So yeah, I've been pretty nervous. When the Patriots won the Super Bowl last year, I wore a Patriots shirt every day for a week. So I'm wearing a Conor McGregor shirt every day this week. I'm not superstitious or anything, but fuck it, I'll give it a shot. Because when I think back to when Lorenzo and I got into this, right, this is the type of fight we used to dream about, You would never think that it would be a boxing versus MMA fight, but fights that don't make sense always pop up, and ones you don't expect, the ones you don't see coming, it always happens in this sport.
There's still critics that say that Conor has absolutely no chance in this fight. I know you said you stopped doubting him, but is there something tangible that, like, you've seen him, you've seen the training, you've seen the sparring, is there something tangible?
You guys saw some of the sparring. I mean, when I really saw him sparring and I saw, how well he was doing, and guys, and he hit so hard, and he's so confident in himself, You sit in a room with Conor for 2 minutes and he'll make you believe too. I read so much. Where's Adam Hill? I know you don't put the two things. I know none of you guys write the headlines, and you're going to interview Bob Arum on Sunday, that senile fuck, and put his shit in the paper. I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is our hometown paper, and the top spells spectacle. And then all the interviews are with Bob Arum. Like, we're going to get a good... And Bob Arum's quote, this senile fuck's quote is, LeBron James is the greatest athlete on earth. Now, if he fought Anthony Joshua, he's comparing that fight to Conor. If LeBron James fought, Conor McGregor is a fighter. He can fight. That's the guy's quote. I mean, stuff like that bums me out. When I was reading that on Sunday on the front paper of the front of the RJ the other day. But yeah, and Mark Taffet from HBO gave somebody a quote. I don't remember who had it. This is like watching Evel Knievel jump the Grand Canyon. Fucking crazy, man. At the end of the day, the people who don't believe it don't know anything about fighting. You know nothing about fighting. This isn't going to be a boxing match. This is going to be a fight. Conor McGregor has knockout power in both hands. There's going to be 8-ounce gloves, and he's going to go in there to knock out Floyd Mayweather. It depends on, is Floyd really going to do what Floyd says he's going to do? Is Floyd going to come forward? He might, because he might believe that, he can hit Conor at will, and he's too fast, and he's a boxer, so maybe he thinks he can. But I'll tell you what, if he gets clipped one time, he won't keep coming forward. He will back up. And if he decides to run and do what he does when he fights, then it'll be a different kind of fight, But make no mistake, this will be a fight. Anybody here tell me the last time you saw a boring Conor McGregor fight? They don't exist. He is going to go in and go after Floyd. Well, what happens is when there's a system to this, when you start to get in the reports on pre-buys, these guys have never done digital before. Boxing's never done digital. Our digital buys are off the charts. And what that means is you can go on to UFC.tv and you can buy the fight. The pre-buys are the biggest we've ever had by far. What does that mean? I don't know. We've never done it. They do pretty damn well for the UFC, so you got to imagine for this fight it's going to be off the charts. You look at DirecTV, all the different cable systems, and all that stuff. The betting. So the biggest sporting event ever bet was Mayweather versus Pacquiao. That was $70 million. Bigger than the Super Bowl, bigger than anything. They're saying that they're expecting this one to be $140 million. So when you look at all the numbers that start to come in, you can start putting that stuff together. We're tracking ahead of Mayweather Pacquiao on pay-per-view buys. Yeah.
Danny, you're cheering for your guy, obviously, right? But if Conor wins here, it seems like there'll be more boxing opportunities for him than there may be UFC opportunities. So, is there any fear in a little bit that we may be losing our guy?
Well, the question is, if there's other boxing opportunities, who does he box? Canelo. I saw that fight. It doesn't end well. I saw that fight already. And that,
Did you see their scuffle today?
Yeah, the guy is a commentator for Showtime, and he's going down and picking fights with Conor down at it's just crazy, madness. But I'd like to see him come back and defend his title in the UFC instead of any boxing opportunities after this. But yeah, the kid is special, and obviously, if he knocks out Floyd Mayweather, holy shit. You know, it's just, who the fuck knows what he'll do next? Anything is possible. The sky is the limit. Literally, the sky is the limit.
I'm sure he comes back to you and says, I'd like a little more money next time I'm in the cage.
Yeah, I got a feeling we're going to have that conversation. And I don't mind it. I welcome that conversation. He deserves it.
In your eyes,
You talked about the 205.
What's that?
Or about his ownership stake, like he was talking about the 205.
It's never been done, but anything is possible. Listen, if there's a lot of people who feel like they're worth this and they're worth that, we know what this kid's worth. You know what I mean?
Would you say the floor on this one is above $3 million pay-per-view buys?
Yeah.
That's the floor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, this thing's tracking.
So you're guaranteeing $3 million or more.
They're feeling like with the pre-buys right now, we're going to break the record in England, in the UK, with pay-per-view buys.
Do you know what that is?
Just on the pre-buys. Yeah, it was 1.1 million. We'll go from there.
What is next for Nurmagomedov?
I tried to get him to fight in New York against Tony. He said he couldn't do it. He was hurt. So we switched it, and we did the fight with Kevin. And then they came back and said, oh, we're not hurt, and we want the fight. We had already moved on, you know. So I don't know. We'll see.